Hey guitar people, how many times have you heard me say that I love walking bass lines? Some bass lines that have something happening in there. It's moving around. Ostinato. You probably heard me say it a lot if you watch my videos. If you're new, then this is probably the first time. We're gonna check out a cool, like, acoustic-y, like, kind of a country deal here, where we're gonna sound like we know what we're doing. Because for someone who's listening, they want to hear a player who sounds like they know what they're doing. Who doesn't, right? It sounds that way because everything seems like it's intentional. When you hear someone who is like playing with intention, it sounds like they know what they're doing and they sound really good. And we want to sound really good. So let's jump into this lesson and we're going to sound, We're going to sound really good. Let's do it. Oh yeah, and if you want to get all kinds of information like this, check out my Patreon. I jump in and explain all kinds of stuff like this, where everything comes from why we're playing what we're playing, instead of just you copying my hands and you can parrot it back to me. Now, if you watch the videos on Patreon, you'll be saying, hey, I know how to do this all on my own. When I'm just sitting around, I can make the guitar do all this stuff. And now I don't have to copy anybody. I can just do it. So that's the whole goal. I always forget to mention this kind of stuff because I'm thinking about what I'm teaching here, but I had to throw that in, so let's go. Alright, we're going to do a slow playthrough with the tabs up here, and I put a capo on fret number 2. Why did I do that? Well, if I'm being totally honest, it's because it's a little easier to play that way. I did like grind my nut slots down like I think a year ago, but like in this kind of style, it's just a little bit easier. So why not do it, right? And it's something kind of different. So let's do the slow playthrough and then I'll go into some explanations. So here we go. In the key of C. Alright, so here's breaking it down. Now, we got the capo on fret number 2, so I'm going to call, like for this, I'm going to call this a C. And I'm going to call that a D, as in dog. I'm going to call that a G. Because those are the shapes, I know that it's not the actual like tonality, but that's what we're calling it. So, what I'm doing here is I'm taking the G, it's our number 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the important part of this is when you're strumming it, you start on the root note, and then I'm going to strum the top skinny strings, 3 strings. Then I come down onto this string here, my D string, 3 strings up top. I give it a hammer on, and then I strum the 3 strings again. Because when I'm doing that, I'm doing like a bottom top. And when I'm doing the top, I'm only strumming those 3 skinny strings because, and I'll get to it in a second, if I strum on my D string here, including that in the top, it's not going to sound good, and I'll show you why. Now I come down to the Now, if I would have included our D string in my top strum, it would sound like this. I don't know if you can hear that, but it plays this note twice. Now, if I just stay on the top 3, then I attack our D string, you only hear this note one time, and then it goes down. So what I want to hear is what I do not want to hear is again, what I want to hear G, G7, and I'm not playing the bass. You could play the bass, but so what I'm doing here is, and that's a good way to get to a D chord, because here's your D note, and then all you got to do is grab it here, and then I walk up to the G, open 2 3. I'm muting string number 5. Then I go open A and up to my B, and I grab the F on top here, and I strum all those strings. So that can like kind of trick the ear. You may think you're hearing like a B chord, but I'm not playing a B chord. I'm playing a B single note. Because that's part of my G7. Right? And then we go back to our C major. Now on our D string, you walk up to the F and grab an F chord. Although, on this finger here, I only have a bar across the top skinny strings and it's only allowed 2 strings. Usually, like when you play an F, you're playing a bar across 3 strings, right? Although I'm only going to do the top 2 because I'm going to have to get an open G string in here. Right here. Walk that up. That's going into our G chord. And on our G chord, we go like this. Into our C. You can start it over. There you go. Just stuff to be careful of is like keeping certain fingers out of the way. Like especially when you're doing the F here, you got to be like pretty precise. And there's a G chord. Although we're playing. and that's a bluegrass thing. Like what you're doing here over the G chord, when you go, you're playing the open G from our G chord, and scale degree number 2, sliding up to a flat 3, like if you imagine like a G minor pentatonic. That note right there. And string 2 is open. That's from our chord, like if you imagine a G chord. You're just gonna slide it down. Here, it's going into our C major chord. It comes in a little bit early, but it's like you're sliding from a flat 3 into a major 3. And then you do like a C run here. And then you could grab a low G and start over if you want. So this run here is just like a G run, only since it's one set of strings over this way, you have to, instead of having the open G, ooh, that doesn't sound good, because it's the wrong note. It's a B. You gotta grab the C. Since the tuning between strings 3 and 2 is different, right? There you go. Man, I have had way too much caffeine today. I hope my hands weren't too shaky. I noticed they're kind of shaking a little bit. I got a cooler on that. So anyway, so this is like the kind of an idea where if somebody hands you an acoustic guitar and you want to like sound like you know what you're doing and be like kind of flashy, it's something that you can do, because on an acoustic you're not able to do all the stuff that you can on an electric. All those wild bends, you know, that's like hard to do on an acoustic. So I mean, if like, especially if you're like, I mean, I've said it in other videos, but like, you know, if you're sitting around like a campfire, I think of, even though I hardly ever go camping anymore, but I used to. Something to do, something to throw in there where it sounds like, man, this guy, he knows what he's doing. Using those hammer-ons. And those walk-ups, a walking bass line. You know, a good way to do from C major into a D chord, you could go like how we did, or you could go, oh, there you go, right? From your C chord, and look where, here's your D right there. Although I wouldn't be playing it here, I'd be playing the open D. So I would go. So that works, especially if you're actually in the key of G. I know I'm deviating from our lesson right now because we were in the key of C, but if you're going to play in the key of G, especially because you got a G chord, C chord, a D chord, and a G chord, right? So you could do something like cool. That's pretty cool. And all I did was like from that C chord, I moved up 1 fret, grabbed my D string, and back to my G. And what I did, if you're curious, I went. All right, you guys, I'm going to go. You guys have a great day, and you just keep on picking.